Hello and welcome to another live session. Every night on this channel, I go live. It's normally between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I broadcast live from the car that I live out of. That's right, I live out of a car, but I also work a full-time job. I also owned a house for 15 years. And I decided to live a minimalistic life because I found in many ways it helps with anxieties. I found out that I don't want a family. I don't want to live the standard society structure, the standard society propaganda that's sold after you get out of high school, go get a college degree, get in debt, then go out there and buy a house, buy the American dream, drown yourself in a 30-year mortgage, then go get a family, then have children. And then your whole life, you feel like you're drowning, you're suffocating in anxiety and depression. In America, mental health is a disaster right now. And there is no capitalist system. There is no system that can purely cure that by productivity. Happiness cannot be measured in GDP, gross domestic product. And society is going to have to learn to shift away from worshiping the almighty dollar and start using the dollar as a resource to create a healthy and new innovative society for a new generation. Because guess what? The baby boomers are dying. Guess what? The industrial revolution is over. We're in a technology revolution. And society is going to, again, have to reinvent themselves and adapt to a new way of thinking, to a new structure in society, that we no longer yearn for days of building gold towers, but we yearn for the days of using technology, using money as a resource to grow the economy through creative innovation, through making society more healthy. We're going to get into all the live comments because each and every night on this channel, I read every live comment. But I usually start the show with a structured topic. And today I was reading an article. In the morning, I usually do a time of reflection. I read articles. I think about my life. I think about what I've been through, how I feel. And as I get older, there's many days where I wake up and I feel unhappy, even though I'm blessed, even though I'm thankful. And I was researching what's the percentage of society that feels unhappy? And like every study, there's always variables depending on which study you look, how the study was performed. But on average, the overwhelming majority of people are unhappy with life. The studies I read, between 70 to 80% of most people, definitely in America, even though America is the most richest country, 70% of Americans are unhappy with their life. So what is causing unhappiness, or what causes unhappiness? I reflect on that in my own life. I don't need to do a scientific study for that. I can reflect on my own life. And I don't need a scientific study to tell me most people are unhappy. Look at the people you work with. 7 out of 10 people that you work with are unhappy. Their spouse is going through problems. Their children are going through problems. They're living paycheck to paycheck. 70% of society is. 7 with a smile emoji on their face have an unhappy emoji in their heart. Remember that. So what causes society to be unhappy? I think the number one thing you can start as is the majority of people work more than they have off. The majority of society, specifically in America, are overworked. The average person works 5 days a week. They have off 2. What does that lead to? Unhappiness, stress. Stress is a cause of unhappiness. Too much demand on the human being. And in a capitalist system, we worship at the GDP, gross domestic product. And we want to pump out productivity at the expense of the family, at expense of self-care, at expense of everything that is inside the human being for the almighty dollar. And only 1 out of those 2 days they're really off, because Friday they're not off. Sunday, they're thinking about Monday, only Saturday. That's too much demand on the human spirit. We're an evolved society. Even when they tended to form years ago. They were doing it for themselves under their own demand. You work for a corporation, whether it's Starbucks or a big technology company, you're going to have a lot of demand on you all week long. Not for a season of farming, not like, all right, it's harvest season, we got to really work hard. All year round, 360, most companies work 365, 7 days a week. And they got people working around the clock. Overworked and in many times underpaid. Now, I'm blessed, but I'm one of the few in society. You can't forget about the majority of society. Majority of society, they're mainly consumer waitresses, waiter, service areas. Too much work, not enough play. Leads for not only a dull life, but an unhappy life. That's right. And the stress of money hurts the mental mind. Mental health disaster. You drown when you think you can really be destitute. You drowned in your own thoughts. What leads to an unhappy life? Living where you don't want to live. Why do you live where you don't want to live? Many times because that's the only place you can get a job. Why do you stay around family? Mainly because you need them to help you care for your kids. Most people that have kids, they stay by their families because they need their help. They need free healthcare. They need free daycare services. They need a support system. They're not independent. What makes people unhappy? Lack of physical health. What causes poor physical health? Well, one is too much work. When you're working too much, you don't have enough time for self-care. Number two is Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, all these companies that offer no health care. They offer no health care. They pay, they pay poverty wages. And you wonder why society is unhappy. Because they are physically not in shape. They're mentally not in shape. There's no regular healthcare services. And healthcare system is a sham. You treat healthcare through a lifestyle, not through prescribing drugs engineered by pharmaceutical corporations. Corporations are not the answer to society. Corporations can be used as a tool. But if you just let them go in the capitalist beast, you're going to be prescribed a pill that you think will make you happy, but all it's going to do is make you numb so that you don't buck the system. Here, sedate this fool because he's acting up. Sedate this child. Sedate this adult. A true awakening comes with a lifestyle of well-being. When society starts, what does the human need for a good lifestyle? Not just to keep the capitalist wheels turning on churning out money and gross domestic product. We're more worried about inflation than we're worried about the people every day suffering in mental and physical pain. Shame on anyone who leaves a comment who is more concerned about inflation than their fellow mankind. Shame on them. They're part of the problem, not part of the solution. I have hope, though. I think human nature is to push it to the end till they realize that they have to do a reset. We're close to a reset in society. We're embarking on a new generation. I've seen a couple people today looking on YouTube. Guy Andrew Yang. I don't fully know him. I don't fully support anyone because you never know what they're about. But there's some things that I like what he's running on a platform for 2020. But it's not just about, there's no politician that's going to solve this. There is no politician that's going to solve this. I'll repeat, there's no politician that's going to solve this. Some will help. Some will help. It matters who you vote for. But it's a society thing. It's all the collective people in society uniting through the means of technology. Use this resource to use all of our well-being. I may have some wisdom. You may have some caretaking ability. Someone else may be a good carpenter. Someone else may be a good calculus person. Everyone has to use their collective abilities to make a more happier society. Not perfect, but happier, more whole. And part of that is going to have to be getting away from looking at what's the unemployment rate, what's the GDP, what's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, what's my 401k. All these metrics measure They don't measure happiness. And that's why 70% of society is unhappy. We're measuring the wrong thing. You need money, you need incentive, but you also need a basic level of income. You need some insurance that people don't drown in their thoughts. Some insurance that the mental health is so bad in this society that we have to go to a corporation to prescribe us a pill, and then you have to call in the welfare system, or you have to get caught in the disability system. And then disability and unemployment insurance, it doesn't incentivize people to work. Universal basic income would, because you get universal basic income, $2,000, $1,000 a month, and you get paid a regular job. Now you can finally get ahead. Why are people unhappy? Because they feel like they'll never get ahead. They'll never get ahead. And the minute their boss doesn't like them, the minute they don't do a good in a job interview, they drown in their thoughts. They drown in their thoughts and they're unhappy. No hope. How do you become unhappy? You have no hope. You have no expectation for the future. You have no desire for the future. You're tired of life. You're tired of life because you realize the system's fucked up. The world is fucked up. Will universal basic income solve it? No, I think it'll be a step forward, though. I think, again, society has to start measuring different things. It has to start operating a different way. You will have more creativity. You will have more risk-taking. You will have more small businesses competing with corporations. When you know you can start a business and you don't have to worry about healthcare, paying for healthcare. You don't have to worry about a basic level of income if you fail. You can start a cleaning company. You can start a window cleaning company. You can start a contracting company. You can start a yoga company. You can start different companies, and you know you have a backdrop. You start a different company now and you didn't get inheritance from your daddy. Guess what? You could be destitute. And then you could be very unhappy when you take risk and fail. We don't have a system to incentivize risk-taking and innovation. We have a system that corporations control the economy. And the minute you try to innovate something, corporations can swallow you up. And then beyond that, beyond all that, because income is just a way of saying that, look, you're going to be okay in this world as far as being able to take care of basic needs. A human to feel happy has to know that they have some level of security to take care of basic needs. $1,000, $2,000 a month is not luxury. We broke down the math. I mean, you could pay that paying your car and paying rent. That's it. But you have to have some assurance that you know you have, because then when you have your basic needs, then you can build your life. Okay? And you're not working I've worked 6-7 days a week. I've worked that way for many years in my beginning of my career. And let me tell you something. I want the next generation to be a little bit better. I'm not like a rigid old man and say, I laid pipe in a ditch, so should you. Because I laid pipe in a ditch. I've worked in the winter in New York and New Jersey, working construction. Many people haven't. Many people are privileged, living off their dividends from their inheritance, and they never worked a day in their life. And they're scared of taking away that privilege. But we're not going to take it away. What causes unhappiness? The wrong relationships. Why do we get in the wrong relationships? Here's why. Because we're already unhappy with life. So we need someone to excite us. And I think, again, when you know you have a level of foundation through providing basic means for yourself, you don't have to seek the thrill of a relationship. When you know that every man, every woman's on the same playing field, they're all getting a basic level of their needs taken care of. They don't have to interact with each other based on who's manipulating who for money. Because guess what? If everyone's getting a basic income and everyone's doing that, guess what? Divorce is no longer a financial game. Okay, that's gone. I worked with someone that took a gun to their head and blew out their brains after a divorce. That's the truth. Divorce is a devastating thing in society, and it has many layers. Many layers, for many reasons. But we have to start measuring. We have to start looking at marriage. We have to start looking at that whole institution and how we define marriage. Because guess what? If marriage is continuing on a trend of a 50% failure rate, we gotta relook at how we structure that. and what we call that and how much entanglement that involves. Because marriage, guess what, is also outdated. In a certain way, yes, it is. As far as how it's structured with the laws and everything else. Having a family, we have to look at that, because there's many people that are sold when they're young by society. Once you become of age and once you get your career, you start a family and you have children. And many people just say that because they want grandkids. Many people just say that because of XYZ. They want someone else to make them happy. Why do grandparents want their grandchildren? Because they're unhappy with life. And they want their grandchildren to make them happy. And then put the burden on their kids. The reason they want grandchildren is because their real children don't like them. Their real children don't even want their kids to see their grandparents. Because, you know what I understand? It's a whole cycle of unhappiness. Whole cycle. Society has to really start looking at itself and get real with itself. %70 of society unhappy. And I think it's more than that. But I think every time you see 10 people, you have to realize 7 of them are unhappy. Even if they wear a smile, they're unhappy. I think that's powerful. I think that's a calling to everybody out there to start using their gift. And I'm not talking about the pastors out there raising money. And look, we got to change some things. The way some things are looked at, the way divorce is looked at, the way marriage is looked at, the way having children is looked at, the way work is looked at. The way our system as a whole is measured, everything has to be relooked at with new eyes. We're in a new generation. Nothing is new under the sun. So we're still facing the same issues as they did years ago. But you have to reinvent. You have to grow. You have to grow. Just like, we're not riding horsebacks anymore. Okay? We artificially made the lifespan of a human longer through unnatural means. Anytime you hook a person up to a machine, that's not God, that's human intervention. So if we're extending life and we're intervening in human life, every time you take a fertility pill, you're not really having a miracle from God, you're having a man-made intervention. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, I'm not against that. But what I'm trying to say is, we also, as men and women, if we're messing with the human lifespan, we have to do things to make life more happy, all right? Because, you're extending what could be a lot of suffering for a lot of people. And then, like you're saying, something's wrong if people are committing suicide, if people are having abortion. Look, there's a whole way you have to look at how we've created a society, how we've extended the lifespan, and we've extended lifespan a lot just to make it more productive, just to get more work out of you, make you work longer. And then when you're older, I know someone who just had a stroke. They were in a hospital for 3 years. Their quality of life was this big. And all the system did was suck every dollar out of their vegetated state. And that's not good. Okay? And that's my structured topic for tonight. I have a swig of water and we'll get into the comments. We'll see if I got to block anybody. We'll try not to, though. Love and respect, man. Love and respect. I got to be me, man. I got to be me. And the real people find their way to you. And the fake ones you're never going to make happy. That's okay, too. I'm all right with that. Love and respect. A lot of comments. I appreciate that. Keep leaving them. I'll read each one. Chad, word. Love and respect, Chad. Good to see you, man. D, hey, G from New Hampshire. Good to see you. Queen, my favorite. All my favorite. Queen, I love you. Chad, time to get inspired. Well, I appreciate that. I thought about that today. I'm going to give myself a thumbs up right now. I see 14 people gave me a thumbs up. There's one that gave me a thumbs down. I'm okay with that because I'm okay with being who I am. And I'm okay with giving myself a pat on the back. And I'm okay with speaking my opinion. And you have to go forward in life. You cannot be discouraged by people who don't get you. If you're just, be yourself. You know what it is. Be yourself. That's it. Queen, how you doing? Overall, I felt good. So I was good. I mean, this is a Sunday as I make this live feed. I had 2 days to recharge my batteries. And I live a minimalistic life. I live out of one bag. If I still had a mortgage, if I was still living in New Jersey, and I was still, living a life that didn't inspire me, I would be very unhappy. I still get unhappy at times. The only thing that keeps my sanity is living simple, knowing that if the shit really hits the fan, I'm okay because I got no kids, I got no family, and I got no heavy burdens over my head. I know most people aren't in that position. Okay. And I know how to play, and I've put in the work. I've built my career. I'm an intelligent person. There's people smarter than me. I've got help along the way, but I understand the game. So, I'm trying to position myself so I can navigate this world, but I still see where I could add some value in saying, look, these are some things I think that I think that should be improved. And that's what I'm doing. Apathy. Hey, Sam. Love hearing you. Spread the truth, brother. Wake up the sheep. Amen. Yeah, look, hey. You're going to tell people your ideas. You're going to tell people your thoughts, and a lot of them are going to be good. But what you're going to realize is no one is going to be as passionate as you about your dreams, just like no one loves your ugly child. No one loves your ugly child more than you. No one loves your dreams more than you. And you have to go out there and live your life. You're given these passions and these dreams and these gifts for a reason. No one else is going to be you. And once you realize that you are the change, then you have to start living your life accordingly. Imperfect, messy, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to still be discouraging. But, your light is not to be put under a bed. It's to be put on a lampstand so it shines to the whole room. AJ from Arizona, you still with me, brother? Good to have you, man. Sometimes I think people are with me for a while on the channel and then they leave and then, sometimes they don't come back, but I appreciate that. AJ, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you too, man. Love and respect to you and your family, your children. I don't know if you're married to that woman. I know she's still, love and respect to everyone out in Arizona. You know what I mean? John Settles. That's my brother, John. I appreciate you hanging in there. I got love for you, John. Good to see you, man. Antonio, good evening, sir. Good evening to you, my friend. Lagner, holla. Y'all, Sam. Hey, Lagner, good to see you, man. D, life has its ups and downs for sure. Oh, definitely. You're never going to make life 100% happy, not in this world. But shame on humankind if we don't try to make life better. Because we have gotten better as society on average throughout the centuries. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but I think if you look on average, not at all, but on average. And so now, guess what? You don't just stay on the horses. You have to say, all right, well, what's the next wave? The next wave is the way we look at society and the way we look at happiness, not just building tall skyscrapers, not just pumping out gross domestic product, not just pumping out prescription pills to sedate society and then call it healthcare. Not to allow Chick-fil-A and McDonald's to not offer healthcare, but totally destroy the health of society. We allow tobacco companies to still sell legal tobacco. It kills more people than any terrorist ever has. I can't believe we've gone to war over terrorism, but we still allow cigarettes to be legal. Cigarettes killing way more of the population than any terrorist ever has. Total disgrace. All about the dollar. We got to be careful on how we start to. We got to run. We can't go back to Roman Empire where everyone dictates like it's all about gold and everything like that. Not good. James, hello. Melissa, so true. Thank you. Gilbert, Sammy, what's up? What's up, everyone? Queens in the house. I hope today was good and tomorrow was even better. Gilbert, I love your positive attitude. I was checking in on old fling that I knew from Queens herself, and she was pretty hot and made me fantasize about her a little bit. Good to see you, Gilbert. Lagnar, money, slavery. Oh, look, money can be a resource, but we have to ensure a level of basic income so that society doesn't drown in their thoughts thinking they're going to be destitute. We have old people in society. 35% of society depend on Social Security as their main source of income. Okay. And many people, so average Social Security, $1,200 a month. So if Social Security, socialism. Social Security actually happened, I think, in the 60s after bad economic times. We would have had universal basic income. Martin Luther King fought for universal basic income and many other leaders. And you know why we didn't get universal basic income? Was because the Democrats got too greedy and they wanted more. Look it up. Andrew Yang talks about that. Oh, we got some universal basic income. I appreciate that, man. Martin, thank you, Martin. I appreciate the support. I acknowledge it. I thank you. And it means something to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. He says, never believe that your government gives you even a tiny little piece of crap about you. Well, thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. I am not totally cynical on government. We're a reflection of our government. People run for office. People in power can become corrupt. Our system is tried to set up with checks and balances so the government cannot control everything. But if the government didn't intervene, capitalism would have died. In the Great Depression, if the government didn't intervene and set up bread lines and set up Social Security that was all burst, set up FDIC bank accounts, capitalism would have collapsed already. If the government didn't intervene in 2006, capitalism would have collapsed. Capitalism alone cannot sustain itself. It's facts. It would have collapsed already. Government sustains it. And you need government. The thing is, you also need private sector. You need both. You need government, you need private sector, and you need a level of balance. But you need a level of dignity. You can't have trillion-dollar corporations, making billions and paying poverty wages with no health care. Government prints money. They print money based on dictatorship by the Federal Reserve, which is a privately basically run corporation in itself, kind of. So all you're doing is you're making society healthy by offering a level of basic income. You're still going to work because $1,000, even $2,000 a month is not going to allow you to raise a family of 2, a family of 3. It's not going to allow you to, live great. You're still, and you're going to be incentivized to work because now you can actually get ahead. What keeps people unhappy? Thinking that they can't get ahead. Government's not the answer, but government plays a part in the solution. So do corporations. Government plays a part and corporations play a part. And we, the people, play a part. You can't just depend on government, like my man Mike's saying. You can't just depend on corporations, but you have to also depend on people. All of them have to work together. And that's done through a collective conversation. Why am I excited about society? Technology. Technology will eliminate some jobs, but right now we got people in the chat room from all over the world with all different perspectives. Now, I'm not saying I allow all different perspectives because some things we're just way on different pages. But overall, social media, through all the pains, continues to make society more enlightened and more interconnected on average. There's some things that are negative about it. This is my opinion. And I do agree with the statement that he makes. And so I have to be fair that government is not the answer for everything. It's not. And we have to be careful, like Martin's saying, not to worship the almighty government. But the government's job is to provide a basic level of services to society, and then you allow the free market to be itself. Because right now, if the government was providing basic services such as a basic income and basic health care, how much more creative would the entrepreneur be if he knew he didn't have to pay health insurance for his employees, if he didn't have to worry about paying a certain wage for his employees because they have a backing? A lot more. I had my own business. I had 2. And I paid on average at least $20 an hour when I worked with people. But no healthcare. Because what I could tell you, healthcare is your biggest cost when you run a business. Healthcare. And so if you ever have your own business and you ever have to hire someone, healthcare is going to be your biggest, and you're probably not going to offer it. And so that's where government can play a part. Not the total answer, a part. So acknowledge you, Martin. I understand what you're saying, and that's context. Thank you again for the support. I appreciate that. Thank you. Lagnar, money. Oh, yeah, I just read that. I got to wipe myself. Melissa, we're a very materialistic society. Well, I agree with that. I mean, part of that has to change. 70% of the economy is based on consumerism. What is consumerism? Consumerism is going to Target and just being mind dumb and just going around shopping. 70% of the U.S. economy is consumerism and 70% of society is unhappy. So there's a direct correlation there. But again, here's what. With universal basic income, society grows. Why? Because people put more money back into the economy. People spend more. People can spend more and they know that they're never going to be destitute. So society is not going to go out of business, just like we went into a deficit for corporate tax reform. We went into a deficit. We didn't talk about inflation then. We did that because we said corporations are going to create more jobs. So now if everyone has a guaranteed income, more people are going to spend more money. They're going to get more cars. They're going to spend more money out to eat. They know they'll never be broke. They'll never have to beg their father for money. They'll never have to stay in an unhealthy relationship if they don't want to. They'll never have to, work a job they hate and then go home and beat their dog. I mean, God forbid that happens. So that's my prayer. Who's that shows support? I want to make sure I acknowledge. Bob for the support, man. Thank you, Bob. Number one, I see you. Thank you. Sammy, sending some love from Massachusetts. It's raining out here. Well, Bob, thank you. I appreciate the support, brother. Love and respect to Massachusetts. Thank you for coming in. And, look, support means something to me. And thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you, brother. D, hey, Gilbert at D. How are you today? Joe Boss, peace emoji and thumbs up. Melissa, I agree with you. Thank you. And thank you for the positive words. Again, I acknowledge the support, both the words and the people with the super chats. Thank you. You will need support along the way. And as I get older, at one time in my life, I said, I want to be totally self-sufficient. I really don't like to spend a lot of time around people. That's why I like technology. It's a virtual relationship. But part of my gift is connecting with people on this level that we're connecting on. But at one time, I really wanted to make enough money and to do enough things that I would never have to be entangled with people to a certain degree. And I think it's good to want financial freedom. But I think if I would have totally got what I wanted very early, I think I would have been a little bit of a straight prick. I was always a compassionate person. But I think when you know that you are, even if God gives you the gift of wisdom, you're not above anyone. And even if God gives you a lot of intelligence and you know how to navigate the system and you can make money in a capitalist society, you have to realize there's plenty of people that they count on you to add to society and not just use your intelligence to just game the system and then just live your own life. Just like there's plenty of people that are better than me with caretaking. There's plenty of people that are better than me in construction. There's different people have different gifts. There's a scripture that says we're all one body. We can't say that we hate the arm and that we love ourselves. And so what I'm trying to say is sometimes it's actually, I believe in a level of assurance that everyone has a level of basic needs met so that they can be more creative, they can use their gifts. But I'm also saying that if we just had so much that we were totally independent of each other, we would never interconnect on a certain level. Because to be honest with you, I mean, part of society's health is understanding the need for one another. And I didn't always get that. I mean, I've always been a compassionate person. So I've never could say like I was a prick, but there is a need for each other at a certain level. I think technology is going to be able to use that need without having the burdens of a full blown out entangled relationship. And there's going to be certain people that look, they just don't vibe with you. So I'm not trying to sit here and give We Are the World speech and say everyone's going to get along. That's not the case. But what I think is that you can connect with like-minded people and that you can help each other in a way that allows you to still give you personal space. The most conflict I've seen in my family and in unhealthy relationships is when they're two on top of each other and they don't have enough space. What I like, and I think that breeds unhappiness. What breeds unhappiness is we need people, but we also need our own space. And so, through a means like technology, through other advanced means, we can connect, we can share. I mean, the telephone is a blessing. The telephone's a technology. Without the telephone, you would know. I'd speak to my mother every day. You couldn't speak to your parents every day. You couldn't do different things. And then the computer age, internet is even 10 times better. I mean, a lot of people face chat with their family. They're traveling, they're doing this and that. The end of this little spiel here, and then we're going to go back to live comments, is at a certain level, always remember we need each other. and your gift is different than someone else's gifts. And kind of like when we share our gifts in a healthy way, in a safe way, we build. And if you were just totally isolated where you were a billionaire and you wouldn't understand the need for people. That's why I truly believe people who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they always got to just act however they wanted because they never understood the need for people. You need people. But if you just had money to rule the world, that's the problem with capitalism, and you never had the need to ask for help for somebody or someone look after you, then I don't think you have a level of empathy. And I think we see that today. Now, I do understand that people take kindness for weakness, and I do understand people abuse empathy. I understand that. But we go to a dark place, a bad place, when we run society without a foundation of empathy, without a need for understanding that we need each other. And we don't just need the mighty dollar. We need a level of basic services ensured, but we also need more. And so that's where we're at. Good job. D. Gilbert and you, Lagnar at Melissa. Buying stuff also sort of drug like free time shopping. Well, I agree with that. So is gambling, so is different things. I remember when I stopped smoking cigarettes and I was never a big drinker. I was never a big pot smoker, but I did enjoy smoking cigarettes and having a Corona and going to the strip club on the weekend. And I remember when I felt like this season of my life is over, I didn't want to give it up. I said to myself, if I give up cigarettes and Corona, I'm never going to be happy. So I don't want to give it up because I can't see myself being happy without it. And I had to really fight to get away from that adrenaline rush. Like the same thing with gambling. It was like, and I was never a big gambler, but definitely through stocks and things like that. Like I said, I went through a lot of money. But one thing I was always blessed with is that I always kept a certain amount that I knew I didn't want to cross that line. But I felt enough pain to know that I could see how people can cross the line. And what I found, whether it's through gambling, whether it's through smoking cigarettes, whether it's through an unhealthy relationship, because I felt the same rush through an unhealthy relationship. It's the high, it's the drama, it's the roll of the dice, it's the stock ticker, it's the text message in the middle of the night. You think you can never live without that rush. You think if I don't have this rush, I won't be happy. But if you allow enough of that to burn off your soul and you separate yourself from it, over time, you can reinvent yourself and adapt to a new mindset. Like I often said, I remember at the age of 11, first smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol under peer pressure. And when I did it, I hated it. And what I learned, most people the first time you smoke a cigarette and the first time you drink alcohol, you hate it. You cough up a lung and you spit out the alcohol. You force yourself to get addicted to it. And then you can't live without it. And then you can't imagine your life happy without it. Same thing with relationships, same thing with gambling. So then it's almost like the opposite. When you break away from it, you have to force yourself away from it, and it's going to go back and forth. But I just want to answer the question, will you be happy again if you don't do it? Will you be happy again if you don't smoke cigarettes? Will you be happy again if you don't gamble? Will you be happy again if you don't talk to that person? Yes. But there'll be pain and there'll be readaptation, there'll be reinventing of oneself. And that's my comment on that. And let me acknowledge Martin says, thank you, Martin, again, thank you. Remember making a collect call saying, Mom, pick me up from school. Community is essential for human survival. Martin, thank you again. I appreciate that, brother. I see you out there. I agree with that. I mean, like I say, I've kind of failed at times. I can't say I was ever a prick, but I can say if I had moments in my life where I said, I'm done with people. And I'm a loner. So I'm not going to say force yourself in a community. Because I think a lot of people need time by themselves. I think self-care breeds happiness. I think enough alone time breeds happiness. I think not enough alone time brings unhappiness. But I think how we define community is going to have to be looked at too. But I do want to be clear that Martin makes a good point, and I've learned this point through my own failures, is we do need each other. at a certain level. We have to give each other our space, but we can never get to a point where it's just whoever gets up the hill the fastest, they win and everyone else loses. There's a book called The Final Quest. Shout out to my brother Jack, who was a spiritual mentor in my life. Even though over the years we grew apart, I'll never forget him and what he added to my life. And he was an older guy when I met him. I met him on a construction site, actually. He was doing a Bible study in a trailer. And I remember, I was just trying to get my life together. And I do recommend at a certain level of your life, you speak spirituality, whatever it is for you. And I got love and respect for atheists. I don't believe in forcing religion on anyone. But for me, sharing my journey, there was a time where I really needed to seek spiritually. And there was this guy, Jack, I met on a construction site working in a pharmaceutical plant in New Jersey, laying big, heavy, rigid pipe. And on the lunch break, he was holding this Bible study with 3 guys. And I was like, something fishy about it, and at that time too, construction was really macho, bravado, you know what I mean? And so instead of smoking on my cigarette break, I decided to go into the Bible study. And there was this one guy, Jack, even though he was what they would call a Jesus freak, he had on his hard hat, he had I love Jesus, and he had a nomad van, but it was all Jesus out. It was all I love God. But he was non-judgmental, and he didn't force himself on me. And he said, Sam, I made that mistake. I used to force my religion on others. I've learned that mistake. And I go, that's why I like you. But I'm saying all that to say, amongst many things that we shared and we built together, one thing he gave me a book. The book is called The Final Quest. Not 100% about the author. Maybe it was something Joyner. But The Final Quest. And what it was about, it's to be interpreted in a lesson, not literally. But it was about this person who was very enlightened or got enlightened, and they climbed a mountain. And as they got higher and higher on the mountain, they realized there was less and less people. And there was more people at the bottom layers. And you're going to learn that in life. The higher you go, the less people. Most people are at the bottom level struggling to get up. And you'll learn that in hiking. If you ever go hiking, same principle. And that's how you know it's a real story. And so this enlightened person goes up the ladder. They go up this mountain. They get lonelier and lonelier as far as there's less people around. And then they feel a calling on their spirit that, yes, you're meant to climb the mountain. But at a certain point in your journey, you're meant to go back down to the bottom levels to help more people get up. Because there is no sense in climbing a mountain if all you're going to do is stand there and just watch people below you just sit. Now, people still have to do their work. And again, you have to take this not literally, but in a general mindset of community, which Martin is saying, and I agree with. And this is a mindset, and this is a book that I'll never forget. And I thank my brother Jack for giving it to me. So thank you for bringing that up, Martin. Thank you for the support, brother. Chat. I'm unhappy because I want to start my YouTube channel, but I keep not turning the camera on to make videos. What is that? Procrastination? Chad, it's procrastination, and here it is. It's the fear of imperfection. What is procrastinating you from starting a YouTube channel? The fear of imperfection. Just like most things you start in life, it's going to be imperfect. Your first couple videos are going to suck. I want you right now to search on my old video. If you go Inspirational Nomad, YouTube Discouraged. About a week or so into making my YouTube channel, I uploaded a video and I left it up there. It says, I'm very discouraged with YouTube. There was no one watching my videos. I felt like I was never going to grow. I had maybe 2 subscribers. I was like one of them. And I said, I'm very discouraged. I'm tempted to make this some type of fake thing. But I know this. I know through consistency and hard work, I'll grow over time. Look it up. About a year ago today, I uploaded it, and that's how you know it's fact. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. And at that time, again, I had 2 subscribers, maybe 2 views on my video total. I was one of them. And now, today, a year plus later, I have 6,000 and change. I get a few hundred views a day. But that being said, I'm also going to be fair. Most YouTube channels fail, just like most businesses fail. But what you do every time you try in life is you grow. And every time you put yourself out there, and believe me, I get trolls, I get ridicule, and a lot of it's going to come from yourself. Most unhappiness is self-inflicted. Most unhappiness is self-inflicted. And putting up a YouTube channel is going to make you look directly in your face. And if you have poor mental health now, I don't recommend that you do a YouTube channel. In my opinion, do whatever you want. Why? Because your mental health is going to be tested when you have a YouTube channel. The first test is going to be your critique of your own self. The second test is going to be the critique of others. Because anytime you use your creativity, you're going to have critics. Creativity guarantees critics. Guarantees it. But what I do think it'll be therapy for your mind is that what's healthy for the mind is a diary. Is documenting your creative waves, sharing it, and refining it. And that's all it is. It's a platform to refine yourself. The teacher learns the most in the classroom. And that's what you're doing. Whether you're talking about cats, nomad life, social issue, all you're doing is teaching. And so the biggest person that's going to learn is you about yourself. And you'll grow, but you'll also be embarrassed. You're also going to get threatened. It's a combination of things. But if I do it, you can do it. I remember when I was in a church and I saw my pastor, I said, if that guy could write a book, I could write a book. You know, and that's how someone that inspires you should be. You can do it. Will you guaranteed success? No. And that's why I think a universal guaranteed income would be good, because then people could take more risk. But either way, do it. Now, a lot of times people go through a couple channels. I've had viewers like that. They go through a couple channels, they change them, they delete them. I mean, sometimes you may have to do that. Shout out to my guy, Isaac James. I checked him out, rapper, Christian rapper, I believe. I checked him out last night. I think he's hot, man. I think he's fire emoji. And I check out people's channel. Like people come in here, like even people I've blocked now, I went in their channel and I was one of their biggest viewers. I still check them out once in a while because I want the best for everyone. Even people I blocked. I'll do a whole video on that. I still pray for people I blocked because I remember some of them. I still pray for people that have unsubscribed. But that's my thoughts on YouTube channel. I'm tough. I got to say hydrate, man. This is a good live feed tonight, man. I'm feeling it, man. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, man. I appreciate this, man. Praise the Lord, man. This is a good one. This is a good one. I'm tough. People are unhappy because they're too social and care what people think. Also because they're worked to death. Well, I agree with that. I've talked to people who work overnight and they work again in the day. I've been there. Most people who work the night shift try to have it either a second job during the day or they try to start their own business. That's when I started my own business. I worked a night shift and I started my own business. And I also started a nonprofit. I almost burnt myself out. And then I shut everything down because I was getting too stressed. What makes people unhappiness? Too much stress. Why do people work multiple jobs? Because they really want to do their own business. They really want to do what they love, but they can't afford to. Or else they'll be in poverty, or else they'll have to go back live with their parents. They don't want to live with their parents because it was unhealthy when they lived with them. They don't want to go back to beg for an inheritance. They want to live on their own terms. They want some dignity. And they want to be creative. They want to refine. They want to have a YouTube channel. It may take a year to grow. It may take 2 years. It may never grow. But they want to use their gifts. And, you know, that's important. Love and respect. Let me just acknowledge here. Martin again, man. Bob, where's that at? It's hard for me to tell. Martin says, being happy isn't about having anything except the realization that this moment is now and just what it's supposed to be. Well, that's a good comment. I wrote that today on my Instagram, something similar. So Martin, I know we're in tune tonight. My Instagram is the word inspire underscore 38. Inspire underscore 38. Happiness, the beginning of happiness is knowing that it's not owned. And that's what Martin's saying. You don't own happiness. It's a moment. It's a moment in time. And what causes people to be unhappy is they hold on too much to one moment. Holding on too tight to anything causes unhappiness. And knowing that happiness is not owned, knowing that it's a moment, allows you to know that you're going to cycle through happiness and sadness. You can't own happiness. I believe you can strive to do more things that make you happy. Living by the beach makes me happy. Moving to Florida has made me happier. So I do believe you can make your life happier through decisions. I was able to take more risks than others because I don't have a family. I don't have anyone else counting on me. There's plenty of people that don't have that opportunity. But I think that the point is well noted that you cannot hold on too tight to happiness. You have to let it flow. You have to live in the moment. You have to be present. And then when sadness comes, you have to realize it's also going to flow in and out. And I think through that, constantly letting go, I believe you find a level of peace. What's the opposite of happiness? Sadness, unhappiness. And I think the sibling to unhappiness is anxiety. I think anxiety is exactly the opposite of what Martin is saying. Anxiety is trying to hold on too tight. It's trying to worry too much about the future. You can't. You got to take it for what it is, and you got to let go. I agree with that. Let me go back to the comments. Man, this is, I'm blessed, man. This is popping. I'm going back to the comments. Man, this is a long one. Chad, I read that. Chad. Also because I read that. All right. Melissa, you make my blood pressure go up. Love and respect. Yeah, well, oh my God. You know, whatever you're passionate about, it will come through. Your passion will also cause you to get uncomfortable. I mean, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do, and you're going to have to put yourself out there. There's just no way around that. And, part of this has been that journey. Martin, man, I appreciate that, Martin. I appreciate it. I love you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, Martin. I appreciate that. I'm trying to thank you. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. Please, all I can say is I appreciate it. It's reciprocated, and I thank you very much. Wow. Man, this is the most comments I ever got. This is hard to work on a live feed, man. I'm thankful. I appreciate it. I'm not going to try to lie like this is but I want to make sure I go back and read each one. I don't want to be disrespectful. Lagner laughing. Thank you again, Martin. Apathy. Damn, Sammy, you're on fire tonight. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, that's passion, like she was saying, blood pressure up. But I think passion comes from self-care. I think, why am I so passionate today? I think because I just had 2 days off and I did a lot of self-care. And I think I recharged my mind. And I think, again, society is healthier the more self-care. I think self-care is when you get out of your head. Self-care is when you get off your couch, out of your head, and outside. Go for a walk. When you're in doubt, if you have the physical ability, go for a walk. Listen to music. I believe getting in nature more is helpful to the mind. Fresh air is helpful to the mind. Your passion has to have an environment. Your passion has to have an environment to be on fire. I tried to light a campfire the other day. Disaster. I couldn't get the fire going. And that's how your passion is. You have to get your fire going. How do you get your fire going? How do you get your passion going? You got to go for a walk. That's for me. I got to go for a walk. I got to listen to my music. I got to spend time by myself. I got to be by the beach. I got to go for a walk. I got to listen to music. After I've done all those things, then I have the extra overflow to share. And that's done through I have enough time to do it. See, like during the regular work week, I don't have this. Why? Because a lot of that energy, a lot of that passion has to go into other things. There's a time and place for that, but I don't think 5 days out of a week. I think 4 days, 8 hours a day, max. That's what I think. Melissa, I agree with you, Lagnar. Bob, Sam, let's overthrow the government. No, I don't want to do that. I love you, Bob. I appreciate you. I don't want to overthrow the government. I don't want to overthrow corporations. I want more equality and I want better balance in society. I don't want anarchy. I want a healthier society. There's a big difference. I don't want anarchy. I want a healthier, evolved society. I want government, I want corporations, and I want the people to have a more equally balanced seat at the table so that we can go forward together on average. There's always going to be some stragglers, but I want us to go forward together as the government, as the corporations, as the people, on average, as humanity, forward together. I don't want overthrowing, because all overthrowing is like, oh, I got to sell a stock, then I got to get another one. I got to get out of this relationship, now I got to call my ex. That mindset is just from one high to another high. And I appreciate your point, and I'm glad you brought that up, but that's kind of my thought process behind that. I mean, because I think there's a lot of good to be worked on. Atu, what's up, mate? And inspiration, keep doing your thing. Thank you, I appreciate that. Is that Australia in the house? Thank you, man. Apathy. They want us enslaved. Well, I just think, I don't know if, I mean, I used to think of those conspiracy theories. I'm sure they're out there somewhat. But what I've come to learn, or at least what I've come to think at this point, is that we have just followed a cycle of, what I think at this point is, if you feed a dog, if you ever had a dog, you could feed a dog, you can give them a couple bowls of food, you can give them chicken off the plate, and you can give them 5 different play toys. And they get so tired, they get so full, you put all the play toys around them and they don't want to be bothered. But if another dog enters your house and goes to play with one of the toys, even though your dog is full, your dog had all the toy play he wants, he will go and attack the other dog. I think greed enslaves us. And I think the dog has been plentiful filled. The corporations have been plentiful fed. And so is government. It's time for the people to get some food. Okay? And when I say food, I'm not talking about free government cheese. Okay? I'm talking about a basic level of insurance that they never have to stay in an unhealthy relationship and know they're not going to be in poverty. I'm talking about a level of freedom where they know they have a certain amount coming in and they can go start their own business. Will there be people that sit on the sidelines? Yeah, there's people right now that sit on the sidelines that got an inheritance. Do we ever talk about them? There's people right now that have, corporate welfare. Do we ever talk about? There's always going to be some people that do that. We can't make life perfect. We can make society better. That's what every great leader has preached since the beginning of time. No great leader has ever said, I'm going to make life perfect. Every great leader has had ideas to make society a little bit better. And over generations, those ideas get built on top of each other and you build society better and better and better. And, that's what it's about. Lagnar at Melissa. That's okay. But Van, debate that. Lagnar, we can. George. Hey, George. You still living in that Jeep Renegade? Yes, I am. You still have a nightly sitcom show? I had a girl in here named Jennifer Lopez. I had a person in here named all different types of things. It's all love. Arlen. Work to death is right. A job you hate. Yeah, look, statistics also show that the vast majority of people work a job they don't want to work. They don't have any options. And then once you have college loan debt, once you have children, you think you can take the risk to take a new job, to move to a new state? No. So a basic level of assurance, knowing you can do those things, gives people more hope. What makes people unhappy? They don't have any hope anymore because they feel like they're caught so deep in the system, they're drowning. If you ever try to save a drowned person, you got to watch out for your own safety because they're desperate. And in desperation, people do irrational things. And so, I think we can do better. We'll be just watch old Twilight Zone episodes. We're living it today. Well, that may be true. Gilbert. Whatever happened to the thought that the best things in life are free? Well, not true. Because, well, let me finish reading your comment before I talk over you. I don't want to do that. The best things in life are free. We know we need money, but we spend in which we need on that which we want, leaving us in debt and continuing to seek security. Well, that's the whole thing, right? And that's why the economy will grow. Because if you give people $1,000, $2,000 a month, they're going to put it right back in the economy. Not like corporations. Right now, Apple has billions of dollars hoarding in cash. Most corporations have money hoarded in cash, not putting it in the economy, not creating plants. Look up the statistics. It's truth. So if you give a person $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month, they may still spend it and they're going to put it right back in the economy. They're going to buy more stuff, but they know they're never going to feel hopeless. They're always going to have something to be able to feed themselves and care for themselves without going to see a certain government official to beg for it or to act like they're disabled. Because guess what? When you're disabled and when you're in disability, there's no incentive to get better. Because the longer you're out of the workforce, the less secure you feel about your skills, the worse your social skills get, and there's no incentive to get better. But if you get basic level of income and you don't have to, you don't have to claim your disability for life, you can collect your $1,000 or whatever, and you can gradually get yourself better, and then you can go find a job you're really passionate about. Because let me tell you something, they say money doesn't buy you happiness, but I've been way happier the more financial security I've had. Way happier. That's the truth. I can lie to you, I'm not. When I go to the gas station and I know I don't have to count the pennies, I don't have to worry if the gas is 5 cents more here. When I go into Starbucks and I know I don't have to worry if they're going to charge me extra for soy milk. When I go in a health food store and I know I can get something a little bit healthier, maybe cost a little more. When I have more financial security, I'm happier. And anyone that tells you different is lying. In my opinion, money will not buy happiness. Money will not buy happiness, but a level of financial security will. To a certain degree. You're still going to have to take care of your physical health and everything else. But studies show on average that people who are more financially secure are healthier, mind, body, and soul. Because it's less stress. That's why it's happier. Why does money make you happier? Less stress. You don't have to worry about frivolous things. And I often talked about, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's not the overweight person that jumps on the camel. It's the straw, meaning that it's the accumulative effect over time. It's the person cuts you off on your way to work. You're rushing to drop your kids off. You're rushing to get to your job. And all the while you're thinking about all the bills in your mind, how you're never going to get out of debt, how you're going to pay college loans off, how your water heater just went. And a lot of the things people worry about are financially related. You're worrying about, I claim disability. I got to play the game. I can't get better because then I'm not going to get my $1,200 a month. I'm not going to get my $1,000 a month. I'm not going to get my $800 a month. And if I act like I'm getting better, if I don't go to a psychiatrist and make up stories, if I don't take these prescription pills and totally destroy my health, then I can't go back into the workforce because I'm getting older. My skills aren't adapted. I'm not good with people. So I have to totally claim disability over my life for eternity because I need money. And this is why most of society is unhappy. In my personal life experience, based on people I've actually known and my own life, in my opinion, my viewpoint, good job. Taxation is a crime. Well, look, you got to have a level of taxation, but I'm not for raising taxes. I'm for printing more money. We are already as a country $21 trillion in debt. So I'm not saying raise taxes. I'm saying it's a crime to cut permanently corporation tax rate and only temporary for the common person. That's a crime. What just happened 2 years ago in America under Trump and the Republicans? Crime. Corporations just got a permanent tax cut and you got a temporary one for 10 years. That's a crime. And you're struggling. They're not. That's a crime. We print money. We're $21 trillion in debt. Capitalism would have died during the Depression. Capitalism would have died during the Great Recession just a few years ago if government didn't intervene. Capitalism cannot sustain itself. You have to have a level of social programs. Never forget it. Love and respect. George, how much have you saved over the last year living in your Jeep? I'll say about 20,000. If I include all my accounts, I would say that. Annie G. Hey, Sam. Hey, all. George, I retired at 40 and I'm very happy. Well, I'm not mad at that. H.I. You would only get the universal basic income if you work totally. Agree with that? You would only get the universal basic income if you work totally agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. I totally disagree with that. The whole point of universal basic income is that you have $1,000, $2,000 guaranteed, and then you work extra on top of that in something you want. If you're working $1,000, that's still poverty. $1,000 a month is poverty. $2,000 barely above poverty. And so right now, you can work at Walmart, and if you work at Walmart and you can make just over the universal basic income, there's no incentive. The whole point of universal basic income is you have a bottom to keep you out of poverty. And then you get to decide what you want to do for your career, or even if you want to work a job you don't want, then you can get ahead of the 8 ball. The whole point of universal basic income is that the regular person can finally get ahead, or at least know they'll never be in desperation. And for some point in society, there's some people in society that can't work. You've never had a family member that's had mental issues or drug problems. They can't work. I've had family members, as soon as you put stress on them, they'll go to prescription pills. As soon as you put stress on them, they'll go to the bottle. As soon as you put stress on them, their mental health is a wreck. If you ever work at Starbucks, you're going to see those people under stress. Some people can't be in the workforce, and you make them claim disability. You make them get caught in the system where it's a bureaucracy. We're spending more money on welfare programs, on government officials, on everything else, playing that game. We're not going back to that game. We're changing the system. Joe Boss. Sam, you are amazing. Orator. Thank you, brother. Love and respect, Joe Boss. Thank you. Lagnar. Sam, time out, please. DTM Professional Windows Cleaners. Sam, what's your hope? All's well, my brother. Sam, what's hope? All's well. I hope all's well with you too, brother. I watch your videos. Love and respect. Congratulations to DTN Professional Window Cleaners who just got a new job at a hospital. I watched your video, brother. Also had his own business. And what I could tell, he could probably testify. D10T, I'd like to know. He did a professional window cleaning business. Did your business not work out? Because he's got to go back now to get a regular job, just like I did at one point. Why? Because you need a sustainable, consistent income, such as a universal basic income, if you want to have your own business. Because what he probably experienced, like Yahoo, who also is a viewer in here who had his own window cleaning business, it's going to have too many ups and downs for you to you can't do that full time. You don't have health insurance, you don't have things like that. So, love and respect. George, not true. I saved my butt off and retired at 40. Well, George, we got to know your whole story in context. One is you got a profile picture of George Lopez. Is that really you? Two is, did your parent? What were your parents both in your household? Did you get any help on college tuition? Did your parents buy a car for you? Did your parents forgive debt? What breaks did you get along the way? We got to know your whole context. We don't even know your real name. We don't even know your real face. How do we know what you're saying without all the context, without all the times you've been bailed out? Just like, we don't know capitalism, except for the fact that if we look at capitalism, we know that it's been bailed out by government. If you look at most people who retired early, they've been bailed out by their parents. They've maybe filed bankruptcy once or twice. So there's many different ways you can get ahead, but you can't get up the mountain and then forget the people behind you with a dishonest profile picture, with a dishonest heart, asking honest questions. So you can ask other people honest, hard questions, but you lie about yourself. That's a person with low character. And that's the type of person that get me ahead, get me up the mountain, and fuck everybody else on the bottom. Fuck everybody else on the bottom. I know those type of people. I've dealt with them before. Lagnar, willing to help others? Yeah, we got some people in here, they ain't willing to help no one. They're like the dog. There's some people in here, they're like the dog. They're like the dog that you feed them 2 bowls of cereal or 2 bowls of soft and hard food. You give them dog treats. You give them 5 toys. They're totally full. They're retired at 40. But they bring another dog in to get a little bit of their toys, and they totally want to rip their head off because they're greedy. And that's what's wrong with capitalism. That's what's wrong. But they don't realize that at one time they needed the bailout. And they wouldn't be where they're at without some help, without some community. And so the hard questions they ask, they don't ask themselves. They don't look in the mirror, because the mirror isn't a reflection of their own soul. The mirror is a reflection of some fake ass profile with fake character. Never forget. Lagnor, willing to help others. Yeah. Apathy. We are living in, I don't know what that means. NSA is watching. Yeah, look, the government's always been watching. I mean, WikiLeaks proves some of that. So that's always going to be part of the equation. All of us making sure none of us rise up. Well, I don't agree in total government oppression. There's some abuse there, but I don't believe in all that. I know a lot of people that have worked for the government. They're very upright people. Some of them aren't. Just like I know some people that work for McDonald's. Some of them aren't upright. Some of them are. I know people that own their own business. Some of them are upright. Some of them aren't. So most government here, you want to know who's the most people that work for the government? The highest level of employment for the government is the military. The military is the most employed government agency. So if you want to honor the military, they're government officers. Cops, government officers, government workers. Teachers, government workers. Firefighters, government workers. Who's the government? The military, the police, teachers, and firefighters. That's the majority of the government. They're regular people that live right next to you and me. Okay? Some of them good, some of them bad. Like I said, there's a three-leg equation to a healthier society. Government, corporations, and people. People can't back up and blame the government for everything. They can't back up and blame corporations for everything. They got to take accountability. We are the government. I know people that work in the government. They're regular people I went to high school with. I know people who are cops. Regular people went to high school with. I know people who are teachers. Regular people they're government workers. They're the government. The government I know people who work for corporations. They're regular people. We, the people, are part of this threefold thing. It's not like, we totally step away and we just say, oh, it's their fault. So, will be. Universal basic income is just giving government more control. Look, the government already has control. Okay? So, the government is us. Okay? We the people. That's what the Constitution even says. We the people. I mean, we're part of the government. Okay? So, a basic income, we can't, the game is already fixed. So if the government didn't matter, then why are we printing money? What do you want to go back to the barter system where you tend to farm and you trade the things that you grow on your farm with other citizens? And look, you have to have printed money, but some of that printed money should go to the people. So again, you have to balance government, not eliminate government. You have to balance corporations, not eliminate corporations. Bought us Google. If you didn't have Google, you wouldn't be watching me. You wouldn't be watching free porn. You love your free porn, right, Wee Bill? Well, that's because of corporations. You can't eliminate corporations, but you also can't eliminate government. If you eliminate government, capitalism would have collapsed a long time ago. And if you didn't have capitalism, we would just be bartering on farms. I don't want to live that life. You got to have balance. You got to have balance. Apathy. George, you're an anomaly. Yeah, George is also a fake profile. Queen, good topic tonight. Thank you. Joe Boss, UBI is the answer. It's part of the answer. Thank you, Joe. It's part, not the whole. It's part. Like I say, don't go from one extreme to another. It's part of a bigger look at society. It's to provide basic human dignity, but not to be the end-all be-all. It's a part, not the full equation. Apathy, excellent topic. Thank you. Arlene, agreed. Thank you. Will be, UB. Is just more welfare. No, welfare is you are incentivized not to work. Welfare is you work at Walmart and you're still on welfare. I know welfare. And I know people who work at Walmart and you're still on government assistance. And we're bailing out Walmart, one of the biggest corporations making billions, and they're legally paying their workers $10 an hour with no health employment. That's corporate welfare. And corporations just got more powerful based on the tax breaks we gave them. So we've already seen with, corporate welfare does and what regular welfare does. That's gone now. Universal basic income. Period. Good job. Funkbeard, I'm happy being free living in my car, bro. Me too. Love and respect. George. Get him, Sam. Speak that real stuff. Thank you. Thank you, George. Tom. George. Tom, joining late. But this topic seems very intriguing. Well, thank you, brother. Good to see you. Melissa. You're so deep, Sam. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just sharing my voice. There's many out there. Thank you, Lagnar. Yep. Will be. Marriage is a business contract, nothing more. Well, I agree. It was needed when women didn't have rights. Okay. Don't forget that most of America's history is a legacy of oppression of women and minorities. Only in the past 50, 60 years have we finally had a level of equality. So when you worship the almighty American flag, you remember most of its history is linked in oppression of women. And divorce needed to be a contract because men would marry women, abuse their kindness, and then divorce them and leave them destitute, without a basic universal income. And so divorce had to be structured that you can't just divorce a woman and leave her abandoned, because then society's fucked. And so there had to be a liability for someone getting married, because then you would totally leave a woman destitute. And so that's the reason it was started to be structured that way. But now that society is more balanced, now we can start to look at redefining that. Because now I know many people who get divorced, the woman makes more than a man. The woman makes more than a man. She has to pay sometimes like alimony and things like that. So, we have to adapt and reinvent ourselves as society. Melissa? Oh, wow, George Lopez here. He had a fake one. He's gone now. Melissa Joyce. It's probably 80%. Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. Apathy. I'd say it's more like 90%. I wouldn't disagree with that. Lagnar, 85. We're getting warm. Will be. Doesn't that say society has a problem as a whole? Yep, and we're addressing it tonight. AJ, we need to start simplifying life. Totally agree with that. Living below our means, realize that social media is facade. Well, social media isn't necessarily a facade. Some of it is, some of it isn't. Some of it is a reflection of real life, and some of it is blown up real life. But it's not 100% a facade. Melissa, 98%. Brother 3 John, 30 of us watching are unhappy. That's probably true. It's probably true. But there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be ashamed about to say you're unhappy in life. Never forget that. Never forget that. Lagnar, it does, will be. Melissa, 2% happy. Now getting warmer there. Apathy. I think most people are turning into Mr. Hopes. Social media has made the majority antisocial. I don't think so. I mean, look, I think society has better social skills than ever. I just think it's evolved. Just like the telephone evolved communication, so does social media. Melissa, I'm depressed. Thank you for sharing. There's nothing wrong with sharing that, honestly. Thank you. Part of healing is sharing what's going on in your mind. Part of healing is saying, look, I got a problem here. I don't feel this way. That's honest communication. The worst type of unhappy people are people that just say, I'm happy. That's bad. That's like someone saying, hey, I'm George Lopez. I retired at 40. Total deception. Anton, they just extend our life because it means more taxes. Look, everything isn't a game, but sometimes that is a game. But it's not the government that extends it. It's corporations. Who controls healthcare in America? Corporations. United Healthcare is a publicly traded corporation. Aetna, publicly traded corporation. Okay? America, the richest country in the world, spends the most on healthcare, and we have the poorest healthcare. We get less for our buck. That's the truth. So, a lot's got to change. Lagnar, okay. How can I make you happy? Just be yourself. Gilbert. No, Gilbert. The problem is we don't know the difference between want and need. We want a car, but we don't need one. We need shelter, food, water, rest, air, etc. But you need a level of mental peace knowing that you're never going to be destitute. There's a reason that Apple keeps billions of dollars in a savings account. They hoard money. Corporations hoard money. Why? They want to know a level of peace that they're going to always be able to be in business. So that's what you really want. If you want to go blow your money, fine, but you have to know that you're always going to have a level of basic needs met. Will be. Maybe they just don't want to be social with their options. Okay. Apathy. True. Gilbert. Everything else is want. Brother 3 John. Well, Melissa. Martin. Divorce and child support is devastating to a man and a woman now as women make more money. I agree with that. And can't move into a van or withdraw from the system because I would be thrown in jail. I'm effectively enslaved. Well, look, I think divorce is a huge problem in America. I think divorce was instituted because men had abused their power over women. Okay. Just like America abused its power in many other ways. I think now as society gets more equality, we have to look at the legal structure of a marriage. Anton, stop overtaxation. Look at France. Well, let's look at America. Let's look at the mental health of America. Let's look at the happiness of America. Let's look right into our own mirror. Let's look right now that 70% of America is unhappy. Let's look at that. We don't need to look at France. Let's take a look at ourselves. Just like we don't need to look at Iraq for weapons of mass destruction. We don't need to look at Iraq. We don't need to go to a war. We don't need to look at France. All we need to do is look in the mirror And you look at people popping prescription pills, smoking cigarettes, corporations getting bigger and bigger and paying not even livable wages. Corporations making billions of dollars and not paying a livable wage. College degree can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Let's look right in the mirror and let's start right there. Good job. Melissa, I was diagnosed with major depression and anxiety due to depression. Mental health is a big issue. Melissa, mental illness truly runs in my family. There's many reasons. I don't have all the answers. Some of it's DNA, some of it's self-inflicted, and I can't solve all of it. But I can say this. All human dignity requires a level of self-sufficiency, knowing that they don't have to depend on other people for everything, because that's self-worth. And some people don't have the capacity to work, and even if they did, their max capacity is at a certain level. And if corporations make billions, we have to have some subsidy for regular people to live a decent life, will be. This society breeds depression. It's unnatural way to live. Well, society's structured for the almighty dollar. Society is structured for corporations to grow and for you to be on the work tread until you're 67. That's how society's structured. Not good. Bob, happiness only lasts in moments. Well, I agree with that. I think we read that. I think that's a great comment. I think we don't own happiness. We own the moment as best we can. Make the most of each day. Apathy. Love and respect, Sam. Thank you. Love your topics and channel. You are underrated. Well, apathy, I appreciate the love and support. And I thank you. Right, Lagnar? Okay. You made a plan how to go further. At Melissa. Queen, thumbs up. Melissa, what do you mean? Annie G. Been doing the 6-7 days a week thing for a little while. Renovating a store in Manhattan. Talk about like emoji. Lugging tools and material in the city ain't a picnic. No, I totally agree with that. Totally been there. Gleno. Greetings from Fort Worth, Texas. Love and respect to you and the Shih Tzus, brother. Lagnar. Yep, being happy isn't about moments. Is about moments. Yes, I totally agree with that. That's a great comment. Live in the moment. I agree as best you can. Bob, divorce sounds crazy. Divorce is crazy. I agree. Annie G, I'm grateful it's only for this one job we're doing. Okay. Shelly, life is a big struggle. It is. Life is. I think we can make life better, not perfect. I think self-care, personal time alone, less work, not no work, but less work. For some people, maybe no work, more creativity, more self-care, more time alone, more freedom. More basic services met without having to basically work 7 days a week. I agree with that. Brother 3 John, you are saying there is no hope for your depression? That somehow is genetic? I don't believe that. You can't beat that. Well, Brother 3, you're not in her mind. You're not in her mind. I used to say that about certain family members for a long time. And maybe they're playing a game. Maybe they're not. We don't know. But the bottom line is, let's not even play the game of now she has to sell that she's depressed or not. Let's just say that that's her business. And that's her expressing her own viewpoint. Either way, we're all going to get a certain level of basic dignity as far as basic income. If we want to work for more, we can. But it's no one's job to define her depression. It's her job. Maybe she's depressed, maybe she isn't. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's not. But it's not your job to define what she feels. And it's not your job to feel pity. It's all of our jobs to say, look, everyone deserves a level of respect and dignity. And then everyone has to have the space to be them. And so printed money doesn't come out of your pocket. And so we have to respect that, look, we don't know what's in someone else's mind. It may be a game, it may not. We don't know. It may be genetic, it may not. We don't know. That's what I've learned through my own life experience. Don't even go down that hole. Just say love and respect or love and support. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know what she goes through. Just like you don't know what I go through, I don't know what you go through. We don't know. None of us know each other in the most intimate way. We know a part of each other. Bob, depression is not genetic. We don't know that. You have certain DNA. Your nose looks like your father. Your ears look like your mother. You have your own fingerprint yourself, but certainly there's certain DNA that's passed on generation to generation. Certainly. Does it mean you're in a death sentence? Not necessarily. But there is no way to play God and say you know exactly, because you're not God. I'm not God. So like I say, you got to have empathy, Sometimes people abuse that empathy, they abuse the compassion, but it's not for us to make the final decision. It's for us to say, as society, we all deserve a level of basic human dignity. And then what we do from there is our own personal business. Good job. Annie G, I have a lot more respect for the guys out there every day doing construction in the city now. I've been there. Good job, Melissa. Yeah, I'm going to start living my life next year. Well, that's good to have hope in that. I'm with you. That's what I did. Life is a struggle, but it's frustrating to struggle against an artificial agnostic. I think I said that. Life has become so damn fake. You become disillusioned with life. You become disillusioned with your pastor. You may become disillusioned with me at some point. That's why what I say is, look, self-care. Self-care is knowing that you're working on yourself, number one. Number two is you want to have compassion for your fellow person, fellow man or woman, but you don't want to put anyone on a pedestal. If you put your lover on a pedestal, you're going to have a divorce and you're going to be devastated by love. If you put your pastor on a pedestal, you're going to be devastated by religion. If you put your parents on a pedestal, you're going to be devastated when they let you down. When you put your put no one on a pedestal. Someone left a comment, when you put someone on a pedestal, all it does is put them in a position to piss on you. Respect, encourage, and allow other people to inspire you. But ultimately, you have to always find happiness within yourself. Happiness is an inside job. Love and respect. Thank you, Martin. Melissa, just riding out this shitty year. Well, I can understand that. We have some good years, some bad years. I understand that. Will be. Depression is 90% environment, and he said, in my humble opinion. Environment plays a big part, but that's your opinion, and I respect 90% as your opinion. Mine may be a little bit less than that, but I definitely agree that environment plays a huge part. Lagner, thanks, Sam. Love you, dude. Love you, too. Round down. How's the Tuscan area for van life? Never been to Arizona. I don't know the Tuscan area. Good to see you rallying down. Melissa, combination of genetics and environment. I would say, I don't know the percentage, but I would say definitely genetics and environment and personal accountability. Environment plays a part, genetics play a part, and then looking in the mirror plays a part. All three. I don't know the percentages, but all three play a part. Because you got to do the work of your life. Your parents aren't going to do the work of your life. The children aren't going to do the work of your life. Your government's not going to do the work of your life. They all play a part, but you also play a part. You cannot eliminate one thing or the other. All of them play a part. Good job. Lagnar and Melissa. And next year, we'll plan. Watch some Jordan Pearson clean up your room. Melissa, I got to pee. The cost of beef jerky? Lagnar X, Bob Marr. Man, this is the first one I may not get to all live comments, man. You guys are blessed. Bob, always look happy. Monkeys always look happy. Glenn O. My buddy Dominic sent me some info on how to deal with high levels of stress. It's called biofeedback. He seems the doctor for his treatments. I don't know that. I did read that 80% of people who do truck driving are ex-military, and most of them have physical or mental problems. And truck driving for long periods of time is very poor for your health because you spend long periods of time sitting, and you shouldn't sit for more than an hour, and traveling takes a demand on your spirit. I know from living 2 years on the road. What I can tell you is the best thing for your health is getting up every hour and going for a 15-minute walk, sleeping 6 to 8 hours per night, and eating a healthy, I believe, plant-based diet. Those are the three pillars of health. Sleep, healthy diet, and getting up every hour to walk at least 15 minutes. Brother 3 John. Next year, today, sister, now. Live now. Well, you got to take steps. It took me 2 years to get down to Florida. Those who go back and watch my old videos, I didn't just snap my fingers and say, I'm going to Florida. It took me 2 years. Okay, so everything takes time, but yes, start today. Not immediately change. Much love, Melissa. Melissa, it was just a thought while waiting in line at the grocery store. I understand that. Martin, thank you again, brother, for the support. He says, never believe that your government gives you a tiny little piece of crap, gives a crap about you. Now, again, I think again, government's not the 100% answer. It's not the 100% scapegoat. It's part of the equation. You need government, you need corporations, and you need the people. You need all three working together as best as possible. Bob, damn, I got to pee, y'all. Bob, am I laughing my ass off? I'm eating beef jerky a lot. Total disaster. Try a plant-based diet. Glenn O. Do some research on biofeedback. I'll take a look at it. Apathy. So damn true, Martin. Queen, do you still have your nutrient bars? I'm trying to order. Queen, this was a Now, I'm just now taking a breath. This hour and a half into this live stream, this is probably one of the most intense live streams I've ever done, with the most people, with the most comments. And it's humbling. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit off balance. I'm being honest with you. I can lie to you, but I mean, I'm caught in the moment. And I'm also trying to, I mean, it's wild. But this is my health bar that I get, and my Trenta water, yeah, and bananas and a salad. And I got to pee, so I'm trying to juggle all these things, and I'm trying to read each comment. But I'm very thankful because I loved it. I'm very thankful. Will be paying UBI is still taking taxes from people to give to others. No, it's not. It's printing money. When we went in a deficit to give corporations a tax cut, what do we do? Where do we get that money from? We went in a deficit saying we'll grow the economy. When you give people universal basic income, they're going to grow the economy because they're going to spend more knowing they have more coming in. So it's going to help the economy, not hurt the economy. No taxes going up, okay? When corporations got their tax cut, what did we do? We went in a deficit. We're $21 trillion in deficit. Capitalism would have died decades ago if the government didn't bail them out. Now the government actually going to work for the people. Okay? And we're going to get away from this. We're going to worship corporations, and we're going to be afraid to print money because we've already done it. And the system may collapse, but it already collapsed. We bailed it out. So guess what? Until it collapses again, we're going to bail out the people. And then when it goes to collapse, we'll bail it out again. Finally, the people will get a slice of the pie. Instead of working 6 days a week, 10-hour days, and can barely afford a slice of pie. Good job, Melissa. I'm aware of how powerful our thought process. I learned some tools in our group therapy. I believe that therapy plays a part, depending on your situation, to develop yourself. Cheesy. People are full of jealousy, envy, anger, and rage. Totally agree. Unless they are going to man or woman up enough to something about it. They ought to just shut up and sit their asses down instead of trolling. Well, I agree with that. We got a lot of fake profiles. But let me tell you something. You look at my channel. Every day I upload a video. Okay? For the past year plus. Trolls, no trolls, I still keep going. And as long as God gives me breath in my lung, that's what happens. So it don't matter who, it's like, it doesn't stop me. But I'm not some type of prideful person where I'm saying that I'm better than anyone or that I can't be broken. I can be broken. If life gets bad enough for me, I could shut everything down. I'm not above that. Job wasn't above that. None of us are. But I'm not someone with a fake profile, hiding my face, giving negative comment, and not offering any solutions. And at some point, if you're trolling, you have to ask yourself, why are you here? There's plenty of other channels that speak to your mindset. Go get into that group therapy. Don't try to tear down someone else's. There's plenty of other places where you can go and you can be a prick. Okay? You don't need to steal my joy for you to find joy. Because happiness is an inside job. Okay? So don't try to steal my happiness because you want to make yourself happy. If this live chat doesn't make you happy, why are you here? It's not for you. It doesn't mean I'm better than you, but it means this ain't for you. You can find your happiness somewhere else then. You understand what I'm saying? Love and respect. Martin, capitalism failed for a reason, though. If a system fails, was it a good system to begin with? I believe it has parts of a good system. I believe, again, 3 parts to a good system. Capitalism is one part. Corporations are one part. Government is another part. And the people are another part. 3 parts have to come together and form a better system. Not a perfect system, a better system. Good job. Melissa, Martin, what did you send me? Leno, agreed. Queen, I'm doing good. Melissa, damn, I got pee. We can send each other direct messages on live chat. I didn't know that. Martin, Melissa, nothing. Will be. Capitalism is based on supply and demand. Finite resources, not meant to be sustained. Oh, yeah, look, why we do that, I have no problem with that. Let's pump more money to the people. Apathy. SSI was Lyndon Johnson's idea. He got it implemented. The government wants to incentivate it. Hey, look, it came because the system collapsed and Social Security, people were destitute. People were on red lines because capitalism collapsed, okay? So the government had a backed up savings account. Right now, FDIC, you have a backed up savings account. That if the government collapsed, they guarantee it, okay? And that's what allows you to not keep your money buried under a mattress. And when banks hold your money, they're not holding every dollar. They're taking your money and they're lending it to someone else at an interest rate. If everyone went to withdraw their money, it's not an upright system. The system would collapse. That's why the government has to back the system. And so the system itself is flawed because we're operating off one part of the 3-legged stool. We're operating off corporations and capitalism and profit run everything. We have to have government, we have to have corporations, and we have to have the people. The people right now are not represented enough. We have to get a slice of the pie. We're going to get it. Tony, especially as we automate stuff. Tony, good evening, everyone. How you doing? Good. Melissa, I see a $10 sign. Melissa, I'm so lost. Melissa, did someone on here send money? There's a way to super chat. So Martin sent money, Bob, and a couple other people. So there's a way to do that, and that's what was done. Blanton, universal basic super chat. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Doug, good to see you, Blanton. Doug, Sammy, hello from New Mexico. Good to see you, brother. Martin, government isn't a bad thing when the people control it. I agree. Balance is always the key. It's a reflection of the people and their needs. Our government works for and it's run by corporations. Totally agree with that. Leno, laughing at Melissa. Melissa, I'm lost, man. True colors. I'm glad I did most vices like cigarettes, alcohol, gambling. I learned why they're harmful, not from a government telling me they're bad, but I experienced it for a certain amount myself. Yeah, well, government is the military. Government's the cops. Government's subsidizes some hospitals. Government is public education. You ever go to a public school? Did you ever go to a hospital? I'm guarantee you they got government funds. Did you ever go on a road? That's government. Look, the government plays a part in society. The roads, the infrastructure. Did you ever have lights put on? Did you ever go to the bathroom and a toilet flush? Did you ever take out your garbage and throw it away and it not just stay on the road? The government plays a part in a healthy society. It doesn't play 100% a part, but either does all corporations. It's government, corporations, and yourself. You need all three. You need help. You know, when you were strung out, when you were gambling, didn't you need help in life? Your parents or someone help you? Or did you just pull yourself up by the bootstrap and get yourself together? I think I know the answer to that because I think I see enough people in life. Gleno, nobody sent you money, Melissa. Apathy. Martin, Sam, give me $10, Melissa. Bob sent it. Thank you, Bob, for the love. Appreciate that, Bob. Love to Massachusetts. Joyce, oh, Melissa, hi. YouTube is strange. Lagnor, oh, that's Bob Wells' brother. Apathy, boom. Melissa, that's crazy. Lagnor, thank Bob. Melissa, mind blown. Doug, consumers equal debt. Debt is life-altering. Be debt-free and live below your current income. Hey, that sounds like a guy I know named Sammy from Florida. You got it, brother. Good to see you, Doug. Love and respect to New Mexico. Love and respect to you, brother. And I hope you're doing well. Doug's on his job search. Doug's in his late 50s, a salesman who is on a job search. It's not easy as you get older to be employed. And he's stressing out right now. He's a loving man. He's worked most of his life. He's saved up, but he also needs income. And in America, what we did during the 80s, during Reagan, was we gave more tax cuts. And what they did was they increased the retirement age you could retire without a penalty. So the retirement age used to be a couple years older, but then we moved it up because we wanted more tax cuts. Okay. Corporations got bigger in the 80s and they kept getting bigger, and the middle class has been shrinking since the 80s. Science pros, statistics show it. Statistics show that the middle class since about the late 70s, early 80s has been shrinking. Eventually, it all comes to a head. Apathy. I live in Mass, Bob. Sammy rocks. Will be. Corps aren't the problem. Banks are the problem. They're all the same. Banks are corporations. And how do you think corporations start a business entity? How do you think corporations go public? A technology company, a healthcare company. How do you think they go public? They go first to bankers. They get certain financial banking, and then they do a public offering, an IPO. Every business cannot start without banks. Banks are controlled by leveraging their debt, by borrowing money, by borrowing money out that they don't 100% have and then charging an interest. It's all a game. People need to get a little bit of a puzzle. I got to pee, y'all. And this is probably the first live chat. There's no way I'm going to get to each comment. And I apologize for that. But if it gets big like that, there's only so much I can do. I'm an hour and 40 minutes into the stream. I try my best, but I really have to pee. And the live streams normally don't even go this long. And if I didn't have to pee, I would keep going and keep reading. But guys, thank you. I appreciate the love and support. And all I can say is just do the best you can. Take life one day at a time. You're going to have, I think the best thing I could say is, just like one of the viewers says, look, you don't own happiness. You're going to be happy and sad. You can make your life progressively better through your own actions. You're one part of the equation. You're the main part. Happiness is an inside job. As society, as a community, I think there's also other parts to play. But as we work together to make society better, always the first part is looking in the mirror. Happiness is an inside job. Never forget it.